Our story begins on a Jedi shuttle floating through space as Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka are slowly waking up from their trip to Mortis. The trio of Jedi remembered nearly all of their trip on the mystical world, whether it be the father dying, Ahsoka being saved by the daughter, the son trying to escape Mortis, and overall, there was just one thing that the father did not want Anakin to leave with. While on Mortis, the son showed Anakin a vision of what his future would become. It was full of darkness, hate, anger, rage, and to make it worse, the son left out any possibilities of good in the vision. There was no Luke, no Leia, no hope. It was all just pure darkness. So, when the father had the chance, he erased all of these memories of Anakin's dark visions. In the end, the trio of Jedi escaped, and everything should have gone back to normal. But as they flew back to Coruscant, something was being set free in Anakin's mind. When the father died, his hold on the memories in Anakin's mind began to break. He locked them deep inside of his mind, a place where no ordinary being would be able to mentally reach. But with his death, combined with Anakin's secret but constant relationship with his own darkness, the memories would begin to leak out. And that same night, inside of the Jedi Temple, Anakin was sitting on his bed, head in his hands, trying to get rid of a terrible headache. From the moment he left Mortis, his head had this strange feeling, as if begging to show him something, and it was only getting worse. Anakin was excellent at hiding the darkness. He learned to put it away, deep inside of his mind. But this one was different. This was like a dragon, trying to break free of its cage. And after a bit, Anakin fell from his bed, dropping to his knees. He would hear a voice. It told him that he will become a powerful Sith. It told him that the Jedi are taking over. Anakin was trying to resist. He couldn't bear to see the truth. And deep inside of the Jedi Temple, Jedi Master Plo Koon was back after a long battle in the Mid-Rim. He was meditating alongside his friend Ahsoka Tano, trying to just find his center, when Ahsoka began to feel something. She could see and hear Anakin screaming out, struggling, and Plo's eyes would shoot open as he got running with her. The two of them were going through the halls, and back in his room, Anakin began to see more and more of the visions unraveling. Young Jedi, fearful Jedi, all of them being cut down by his blue lightsaber. Padme begging for him being choked to death. Obi-Wan angry with him, swinging to kill him. And he felt himself inside of the mask of Darth Vader, breathing as him, seeing as him, and living as this being of pure evil. The vision would break as Anakin's room door swung open, and Anakin looked over to see Plo Koon and Ahsoka entering the room. For a single moment, Plo thought Anakin's eyes were a deep orange color, but as he approached, the familiar blue color emerged, and Plo grabbed him by the shoulders, asking Anakin what was going on. He looked to Ahsoka, telling her that the visions the father erased were coming back to him. He's seen his future. He will cause so much pain, so much suffering, and it will all be for the bidding of some unknown emperor. Anakin clutched his mechanical fist into a ball, and Plo Koon began to see two very different paths unwinding in front of them. Anakin muttered that he must stop this from coming true. He must find the power to destroy this emperor before he can take everything from him. But Plo said there is another way. It does not have to be from this dark side. They can use these visions to find the light and to find this emperor. Anakin allowed himself to calm down a bit, and he asked Plo to help him through this. Help him find the way out. Plo would bring Anakin and Ahsoka back down to the meditation chambers. It was here that Anakin would calmly sit and remember the visions, bit by bit. The first thing he saw was Obi-Wan, heartbroken as he looked down on fallen Jedi, and then a powerful Sith Emperor telling Anakin that the Force is strong with him, and a powerful Sith he will become. All three of Anakin, Plo, and Ahsoka knew of what this could be, the mysterious Dark Lord known as Darth Sidious. The Jedi knew very little about this man. They only knew what Dooku had told Obi-Wan, that he is a Dark Lord of the Sith, controlling the Jedi and the Republic, essentially controlling the entire war and the entire galaxy. But the Jedi also had no way to know if Sidious was real, or if Dooku made him up to keep them paranoid about the Sith. Either way, Anakin would sit with Ahsoka and Plo as they discussed this Emperor, and Plo would reveal a secret that was kept tight-lipped within the Jedi Council. There is some suspicion within the Council that Sidious could be within the inner circle of Chancellor Palpatine. Of course, Palpatine would not know this. The Council doesn't even think Palpatine truly believes the Sith are real. But if Dooku was telling the truth, then it certainly is a possibility. Plo would make Anakin and Ahsoka promise to keep this a secret, and because of these visions, Plo will try to get Anakin closer to the Council so they can find the truth. Anakin would promise, but the moment the sun rose on Coruscant, he was flying across the city to Palpatine's office. He knew the Jedi didn't trust Palpatine, but he certainly did. And as Anakin arrived at his office, the Chancellor was staring out of his grand window when he said Anakin's name with a calmness that Anakin always embraced. Palpatine didn't even turn around, so Anakin figured that Palpatine must have seen him in the reflection of the window. But in reality, Palpatine knew Anakin would be coming to him, as last night, Plo Koon and Ahsoka were not the only ones to feel Anakin's dark presence in the Force. Palpatine felt them as well, as Palpatine had trained himself to never again need to sleep after he killed Plagueis drifting to sleep. Instead, Sidious used the night hours to plan ahead and to feel the dark side of the Force. And last night, he sensed something breaking inside of Anakin. He would slowly poke and prod into Anakin's mind this very morning, trying to figure out what exactly was going on. And soon, Anakin would ask Palpatine if he's ever heard of the Sith Lord called Darth Sidious. Palpatine laughed a bit, telling Anakin that he has heard the rumors that came from Geonosis, that there is some mysterious Sidious controlling everything in this war, the ancient enemy of the Jedi, emerging to bring them down. It almost seemed as if Palpatine was admiring the myth of Sidious, but he quickly caught himself, telling Anakin he knows nothing of the man, and he asked Anakin why he wishes to know. Anakin would reveal that he's been having visions from the Force, visions he received from Mortis. This made Palpatine freeze and nearly drop the mask hiding his true identity. Mortis, he asked. Palpatine has of course heard of this mystical place. In fact, he's always wished to go there and steal the power of the gods for himself. But he's never actually heard of someone going there. He began to think it was impossible, until now. And he would ask Anakin to tell him all about his trip to Mortis, just so he can further understand, because he obviously does not know much of the Force. And after an hour of discussion, Palpatine would learn so much. He decided he needed Anakin out of the way. He would tell Anakin that he should pursue this lead on Sidious, and the only way to do that is by finding Dooku and asking him about it. So, Palpatine would assign Anakin to the battle over Iriadu, where Dooku has been spotted. Anakin would depart for the battle alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi and Kit Fisto. Ahsoka was not coming to this one, as Palpatine said that he wanted to keep her here for a seminar on the Republic that all Padawans were expected to attend. And so the three Jedi would set off for Iriadu with their clone legions by their side, but Palpatine would personally call Ahsoka Tano to his office, and within minutes of her arrival, Sidious would reveal something dire. He has had a bomb placed deep within the engines of Anakin's Venator. He then pulled out a detonator and said that one simple click will blow up Anakin, Obi-Wan, and all of the clones that they've grown so close to. Ahsoka didn't understand. She was in complete shock. And then Sidious reached out a hand, pulling a lightsaber into his open hand. The red blade ignited, just an inch from her throat. Now Ahsoka understood. Sidious was not working within Palpatine's circle. He is Darth Sidious. The Jedi were dangerously close to uncovering his true identity, so Sidious was altering his plans. He needs to go to Mortis, discover the ultimate powers hidden in that world, or at least find some gateway to power beyond anything he's imagined. Ahsoka was trembling a bit, as she said she doesn't know how to go back. Obviously, she would show him if she could. She wants to save Anakin, Obi-Wan, the clones. But the world chose to bring them there. They didn't go there on purpose. Sidious said he expected that was the case, but he also knows that the spirit of the daughter now lives within her. They will find a way to access this realm together, and Sidious would use the Force to knock Ahsoka unconscious, as the next steps of his plans would soon get underway. Across the galaxy, the Battle of Iriadu was well underway. In space, the Republic attack fleet would break through the Separatist defenses. Dropships were descending down into the cloudy world. Dooku was inside of a Republic base here, attempting to steal data plans to new Republic battleships when he was alerted of a Jedi entering the base. Dooku was informed it was Anakin Skywalker. This was good. He always enjoyed his fights with Skywalker, his future ally in the coming Empire. Anakin would cut his way through the inner halls, cutting through dozens of battle droids, moving straight for Dooku. Obi-Wan didn't know it, but Anakin was here for the truth. He needed to know more about Sidious after his visions. The blast doors to the command chamber split apart with a force blast. Dooku turned to him, and their duel would begin. Dooku pressed down on Anakin, driving him backward through the doors that he just burst through, across the command deck with quick strikes. But as Anakin fought through the facility, losing to Dooku, he began to remember his visions once more, the darkness of it all. Anakin knew how it felt. He knew how to access it, and so he did. His movements were different now, as the visions pulsed in his mind. He fought to tear open the truth. A violent force push shattered the viewport behind them, and they tackled each other out of the base and down toward a transit platform. They landed hard on a departing rail car that shot from the base's side and began racing along a narrow track suspended over a vast canyon. The abyss below was endless and foggy. Their duel resumed immediately. Sabers were colliding as the rail car moved through the air. Finally, Dooku would falter a bit. Anakin's aggression was intensifying, each strike heavier than the last. Using the darkness as fuel, the memory of his future self was frightening him, empowering him. He poured that fury into his blade, and Anakin would disarm him, cutting through Dooku's wrists and catching the red blade before it fell. Now, he stood over Dooku with two sabers crossed at his throat. The canyon wind howled around them as the railcar thundered onward over open air, and Anakin yelled out to him, demanding to know, who is Darth Sidious? What are his ultimate plans? Dooku could feel the force around him. He knew Anakin had no intention of leaving him alive, and he also felt, somehow, that Sidious had set this up. Sidious was escalating his plans, and he was choosing to leave Dooku behind. So, Dooku looked up, and in his final act, he would choose chaos over loyalty. He gave Anakin what he wanted, revealing that Sidious is Palpatine himself. Before Anakin could process the weight of these words, Dooku leaned backward off the edge of the railcar, falling to his own death on his own terms. His body vanished into the canyon clouds below. The railcar continued forward, carrying Anakin alone. As he looked into the red blade, he felt a disturbance in the Force. Palpatine had tricked him. He now knew about Mortis, and he personally made sure that Ahsoka was on Coruscant. Anakin knew now she was in terrible danger, and he hurried to find Obi-Wan. When Ahsoka woke up, she found herself in some sort of dark side layer. Sidious was deep in a Sith ritual that would bring him the power he desires. Obsidian torches were ignited with blue flames, and she saw the Dark Lord nearby. Sidious was prepared for this. He extended his hands toward Ahsoka, reaching into the Force to seize the luminous remnant of the daughter buried in her spirit. Ahsoka gasped. The sensation struck her, not like lightning, but like a hook dragging something from her. Sidious was amplifying the imbalance created when light and dark were torn apart on Mortis, and the darkness was felt around the entire planet of Coruscant. Jedi would falter in their meditation. They felt this disturbance. Creatures deep in the world would cry out in agitation. In the temple, Yoda paused his walk around the temple, a sudden pressure behind his eyes, as if the Force was inhaling. Back in the cavern, reality began to fracture as Ahsoka was lifted into the air, screaming out. The walls dissolved into spiraling distortions of light and shadow, and soon a portal began to materialize within the tearing air, as though it had always been just waiting beyond perception. Ahsoka screamed out again as the presence of the daughter within her was being torn apart, forced to reveal the mythical world. And when the portal was open enough, Sidious would throw Ahsoka inside of it, entering alongside her. The land trembled, as if rejecting him. Mortis fell wounded without the father, and Ahsoka collapsed onto the stone, breathing hard, eyes flickering faintly with white light, as the daughter's imprint was flaring in her. Sidious knew what he had to do. The son was dead, but his spirit lived on in the galaxy, through this world. Sidious knew he must take the power for himself. He will become completely unstoppable. He will become the Sith Emperor with the power of gods inside of him. He just needs to find it. But back on Coruscant, Anakin would sprint into the council chambers during a meeting, and he would tell them everything about Mortis, about Dooku, about Ahsoka, and about Palpatine being Sidious. He would find out that Ahsoka is missing, and there was a great disturbance felt all around Coruscant. The council now fears that Sidious has found a way into this realm. Anakin knew he had to get back there. Sidious forced his way in. There had to be another way. And Yoda would say that he knows of a gateway far on a world called Lothal that no Jedi has been able to open before. Perhaps Anakin is the one who can do it. And so a Jedi shuttle would travel to the ancient Lothal temple. Yoda, Plo Koon, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, and Anakin would travel to this world together, and they would find the gateway. It was a door needing to be unlocked. Anakin put his hand up, calling upon the light, upon the memories of Mortis, and after a long while, the door began to answer the Chosen One. As Yoda and the others looked upon this opening door, they were mystified. The prophecy had to be true. Anakin was the Chosen One, and soon the door would open. Anakin knew he had to go alone, so he turned to the others, and he told them that if he fails, he couldn't even finish the sentence. But Obi-Wan gave him a quick hug, and he quietly told Anakin he will protect Padme no matter what. This was what Anakin needed to hear, and he would go in alone. Anakin emerged into a world of portals. He saw his mother, the Clone Wars, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, his childhood. So many doorways. But then he saw Morai, and the bird would carry the same presence as the daughter. Anakin had to fight every urge in himself to push forward, to not go into any of these portals, to follow Morai, and to find the portal to Mortis. And deep in the Mortis realm, Darth Sidious stood, raising his hands toward a vortex of dark energy, suspended above the molten lava lake, in a deep cavern here. The sun's essence had not vanished with his death. It seeped into the bones of the world itself. Sidious used the power of 1,000 years of Sith to seize the power of the sun, tearing at the nexus of this world with all the fury he could possibly find. And the darkness would answer him. Lava surged upward, red lightning threaded through the air, coiling around Sidious's body, sinking into him like veins of a shadow. He screamed out. The sun's power flooded into him. The sky above the cavern fractured as Mortis bent inward under the weight of what he was becoming. But then, a figure would jump through the entrance. Anakin Skywalker landed hard against the black stone. Blue blade ignited in one hand, the Mortis dagger held in the other. And Anakin saw Ahsoka, barely conscious on the ground, body burned and trembling from the strain of holding Mortis together against Sidious's corruption. The echo of the daughter would flicker weakly within her. Anakin rushed to her side as the cavern quaked again, and she reached up to Anakin, pressing her hand to his chest, and Ahsoka would let go. Anakin didn't understand. He begged her to stay with him. But then, the light within her surged outward in a final burst, transferring fully into him. The warmth that once restored her life now poured into Anakin. It was wonderful, brilliant, and overwhelming, and Ahsoka's body went still as she died, free from the pain of Sidious. Anakin felt it immediately. The daughter's essence aligned him, and his rage would cool into focus. He could feel Ahsoka's presence, guiding him from beyond. Light wrapped around him, and across the cavern, Sidious would turn, now transformed. His eyes burned with pure darkness. Veins of red lightning were crawling beneath his skin. He'd become a vessel for the sun's unrestrained will. But Anakin had become the light. Their collision and their duel would split this cavern. Sidious unleashed a torrent of red lightning, shattering the stone walls. Anakin met it head-on, blade raised, deflecting the blast. Sidious would leap out of the hole, getting to the open world, and Anakin followed. Their duel tore across Mortis itself. The sky responded to each clash of their blades and of the Force, as storms formed overhead, lightning from both light and dark, splitting the clouds. Sidious attempted to dominate the realm, channeling the sun's raw fury to twist the landscape into weapons. Mountains were rising like spears, chasms were opening beneath Anakin, but the daughter's essence with him stabilized each distortion of this world, preventing Mortis from being torn apart. And soon, Sidious hovered above the largest river of lava that was emerging from the splitting ground, summoning every fragment of the sun's power into one catastrophic surge. Red lightning engulfed the sky, converging into a single, world-shattering strike meant to erase Anakin from existence. But Anakin planted his feet on the stone. He raised both blades, and light exploded outward from him in a blast of white-hot energy. With screams of power, Anakin turned to redirect the blast toward Sidious. The Dark Lord caught it, but as he was being overwhelmed, he looked to Anakin, and he saw that, somehow, Anakin was not alone. Luminous beings of the Force began to gather behind him. The spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn was first, then the spirit of Ahsoka, other fallen Jedi from all eras of the Force, their presence strengthening the current flowing through Anakin. They aligned with him, and Sidious would understand the truth. The light was more powerful in the end. It brought unity in this realm, and the blast of power was turned back towards Sidious with amplified force. The light was turning the lightning into a blinding column that engulfed Sidious completely. The sun's power screamed out as it was forced against the daughter and burned away completely. An explosion of power shook Mortis to its core, and when the blinding light would fade, Anakin slowly opened his eyes, finding himself laying on his back on Lothal. Windu, Yoda, Plo, and Obi-Wan were standing over him. To them, Anakin was spit out of the portal only a second after he entered. Time passed by so differently in there, but Anakin smiled as he felt the daughter's spirit in him. He felt Ahsoka in the Force. He knew it was all real, as he felt the darkness fading away. The revelation of Palpatine as Sidious shattered the Republic's foundation, and without the Sith orchestrating both sides, the Clone Wars collapsed under their own weight. Grievous was destroyed, corporate leaders were captured, and it was over. The Senate reformed under pressure, corporate war powers were stripped away, and negotiations between Republic and Separatist worlds began in truth for the first time. Anakin helped reshape the Jedi from within. The Order stepped away from being generals and returned to being guardians. Clones were granted citizenship, and across scarred systems, Anakin would travel quietly, stabilizing worlds, and the Force responded differently to him now. He was all the way in the light, and Ahsoka remained with him as a Force spirit after Mortis. The Jedi began teaching balance with greater honesty, no longer suppressing emotion, but trying to guide it responsibly. And over the years, the Republic evolved into a looser, more transparent alliance of systems. Anakin didn't take a throne on Mortis or in the Temple. He never declared himself ruler of the galaxy. He simply lived with the balance in the Force for many years to come, alongside his family. And folks, that is our story for today. Haven't done a Mortis story in probably a year, two. Damn, it's been a while. Dang, sorry, don't swear. Anyways, that was fun. I remember my favorite Mortis story, I think, is like, what if Anakin, what if he stayed on Mortis? Or what if, I don't even remember, but either way, Anakin, like, killed Sidious, and then it ended up being on Mortis and fighting Avalon. It was crazy. I mean, it was fun. This one was crazy too. But yeah, I thought it'd be more fun than just a traditional, Anakin has visions and goes light, wanted to really make it exciting. And I thought I did, so I hope you enjoyed, hope you liked it. That's the same thing. And anyways, I'll see you all in the next video.